everyone, welcome to episode 3 of Death Row Diner. Today we're going to talk about Wanda Jean Allen. And it might be a little bit, I don't know. It might be bad for me to say it like this right out of the gate, but Wanda Jean Allen was a survivor. And I know that's ironic since I'm about to eat her last meal. But once I tell you like what all she had to go through and a little bit of her history, I think you're going to agree. So Wanda Jean Allen was born August 17th of 1975, and she was the second of 8 children. And she grew up without her father, and her mother was an alcoholic. So the deck is kind of stacked against her. At the age of 12, she got hit by a car, but she lived to tell the tale. She was knocked unconscious, but overall, she was okay. She lived. Now, it was not very many years later, I think she was 15, she got stabbed in the head, but she survived that as well. Now, the stabbing affected her a little bit differently. She did seem to have some differences in her abilities after the stabbing. She did continue on through school, but at the age of 17, she did drop out. So fast forward. In June of 1981, she shot her roommate, Deidre Pettis. Now, she told law enforcement that they had gotten into an argument, that she had shot Deidre from about 30 feet away, but the forensic evidence told a completely different story. There were bruises and gunpowder burns on Deidre that indicated that she had been beaten with the gun and then shot at a much closer range, like very close range. So Wanda, she pled guilty and she served 2 years out of a 4-year sentence. Now, while she was incarcerated, serving time for the murder of Deidre, she met her girlfriend, Wanda Jean Leathers. Now, their relationship was not built to stand the test of time, and in 1988, it came to an end. Now, on December 2nd, the two of them got into such a significant altercation that law enforcement actually got involved, and they escorted the two of them home from the grocery store, and they stayed there while Gloria got her stuff together. Now, later that same day, Gloria was headed to the police office so that she could report Wanda and file for like an order of protection, or like file a complaint against Wanda. But Wanda was not going to let that slide. So she was waiting for her. So Gloria and her mother arrive right outside of the police department. Wanda pops out of the bushes and shot Gloria right in the stomach. Her mom was standing right there, had to watch the whole thing. She witnessed it. And unfortunately, Gloria did not survive this time. So Wanda was charged with first-degree murder, and they were seeking the death penalty. Now, Wanda claimed that this was self-defense. Supposedly, while they were both incarcerated together, Gloria had bragged about how tough she was and what a history of violence she had, and that because she had bragged so excessively about how awful she could be, Wanda was terrified of Gloria, was the story. And that could be true, but of course the self-defense claim for this one just wasn't successful. She was found guilty and was sentenced to death. Now, her case was incredibly controversial because of her mental capacity. In 1995, she was evaluated by a psychologist who said that it was evident that her cognitive and sensory motor deficits and brain dysfunction were linked to her childhood injuries. She spent 12 years on death row and was denied clemency. Now, she was executed in 2001, and when they brought her in, her final words were, "Forgive them, Father, they know not what they do." She was too upset to really eat a last meal, and her last meal request was simply a bag of potato chips. So I do think in her case it's a little bit tricky because it definitely seemed like she was denied the opportunity for alternatives over the death penalty, when clearly she was affected by being hit by a car and stabbed in the head. And this is still honestly a controversial case, especially for those that are very opposed to death row. Hers is a very popular story for that. We're not here to pro or con, execution, but it's an interesting thing to study. Absolutely. So she asked for a single bag of potato chips. I have a variety because I don't know what kind she wanted. I don't even know if she picked a flavor, but we're assuming that she went with plain. So I've got a kettle cooked variety, a classic, and this caught my eye because it's potato crisps. Doesn't say chips, so for all I know, it may not even be potatoes. It does say potatoes in the ingredients, so now we know. But I'm gonna try all three of these and we're gonna see which one's the least hated. I don't really like plain potato chips. I'm more of a Cheetos fan, but we'll start with the Lay's because I know that I can handle a classic Lay's chip. I don't love Lay's though because I feel like they're always greasy. And they're fine. But if I have to eat salty potatoes that are a little bit greasy, I'd rather just have French fries over. But they're fine. I feel like they need a dip. I think that's my issue with Lay's chips, is I feel like they need more. But I can put away some Lay's pickle chips. So those are okay. I'll let those slide. We'll go with kettle. These come in a great variety. It even says on the bag it's a good pick. We'll see. Let's put some of these out on the plate for comparison. So this is a kettle. This is a classic. I don't like that these are browner. So like this is the Lay's classic. This is the kettle. It looks like the edges, I hope you can see this, are like the skin was still there. I feel like only the best potatoes should be available for potato chip life. I don't like that brownness. And we'll open the Munchos and see what these look like. These don't even look like potato chips to me. They look like, did you ever microwave soap when you were a kid and it gets fluffy? That's what these look like. I hope you can see this texture because these don't even look like, they remind me of barnacles, like from the ocean. They've got little like bubbles. Okay, so I've got 3 kinds of chips. These ones are fine. These kettle ones, I don't like that they're brown. Let's see. Let's pick a small one. This one has a giant gaping hole and they look greasy. They're crunchier than the classics. But they have a strange, like it just reminds me of oil, actually. Like if, they don't taste like, I don't even taste the salt, to be honest. They're just kind of like oily. And then these, the Munchos, potato crisps, there's no small ones either. They're all enormous. I just wanted to try like one. But look, all these are massive. I'm gonna have to break one, I guess. So I guess if you want a bag of chips that you get your money's worth, this makes sense. This was the cheapest bag and it looks like it has the most chips. This one's round like those little pastas. Okay, here's a small piece. Okay. These actually are kind of delicious. But they remind me of Pringles, actually. They're like, actually I don't like them. The delayed taste reminds me of paper. Or if you get a bag of Cheez-Its and they're a little bit toasty, they're like a little bit burnt, that's what these remind me of. It's like they're overdone, but they definitely don't look overdone. And they don't feel overdone. But it's almost like a bitter flavor is actually what I think of. It's like bitter. So if I had to choose, we're going to stick with a classic Lay's. I don't actually want to eat any of the chips if I were choosing a last meal. But I completely understand being upset and not wanting to eat a last meal at all. But if I was going to, I would definitely pick a better kind of chip or a sandwich or a cheeseburger or pizza. Definitely not chips. But if I had to pick chips, I would just go with a classic chip because these other two are not it. They're too much for me. It's too fancy. I just want a regular plain chip if I have to eat them. So I'll give her last meal. Honestly, I'll give it a 4 out of 5 because it's not creative and it's not what I would want. It's not a lot of variety, but I didn't gag eating these chips. So for me, that's a win. I'll give it a 4 out of 5. So thanks for watching. Come back next week, and I think we're gonna do, I think next week is a rough one. I think it's gonna be one that I might struggle with a lot. So tune in next time, and we'll see you again.